Hi and welcome to this video about the timeline view, a new feature in Google Sheets. Timeline view allows you to have a time-based visualization of your sheet data. It could be a project management data, it could be anything that is time related. So we have here a basic sheet with some information. We have a column with project tasks, a task description, a start date and an end date. A start date, at least one date column is of course necessary to create a timeline view. And we also added a column for owner, status, details, and files. Important to know is that the date columns should be formatted as dates. So the first thing we will do here is select those two columns here and click on Format, Number, and choose the date format here. This will allow the system to completely understand the format of those dates. And pro tip here, it could be interesting as well to add some data validation here to create a date picker. So while it's already selected, we can just click data, data validation, and then we can choose date in our criteria field and choose the is a valid date option. You can even reject input for invalid data. So let's start now adding some information here. This is topic 1, description 1. As we added the data validation, we are able to select or double click here for date and data input. We can just add some dates here. Interesting here to know is to use the smart canvas notation here. So by typing the @ and then the name of a colleague or myself, I'm able to add names here. I can add a status and I can add a file. A file could here be even also a smart canvas created by this. There you go. So let's add some extra topics here as well, just to create some content here. Could be busy, could be new, could be done, and so on. So for this column, even it would be interested to decide to have a data validation as well here based on a list. So instead of writing here, we could also select this column here and add a data validation based on a list of items, new, busy, and done. This will create a drop-down list, which is easier to avoid any mistakes here as well. Let's add some dates here. Can be overlapping, of course. November, let's do this in the past. Like this, then we should mark this as done. This is new, new, and new. So when we have our data, we can now insert a timeline. The system will suggest a range, a date range. This is from the beginning to the G5 row. That will do for now. You will see entering or adding new lines will also add or expand the data range here for your timeline view. As soon that has been done, the timeline will be created automatically and will add the settings bar here at the right side. So here you're able to change the suggested configuration by Google. So automatically, as a start date field, the start date column was chosen. You can eventually change this. The same for the end date, and the same also for the card title. If necessary, you're always able to change this when needed. Those three fields, four fields actually, if you also include the date range, are the required fields. Without those fields, Google will not be able to create a timeline view. But you also have some extra optional fields. Right? For instance, you could choose a card color column. So we will do this based on the status of a task here. And you can also add some card details. In this case, we will choose the task description field to add some information. You see the description here is added automatically. It's also possible to add a category or a type of information that will allow you some grouping, but you can do it also based on the owner or a status or whatever data that is available in your sheet. In this case, I would say I want to group by status. Then the status column has been added here automatically. This view allows you to jump quickly to today, and it's also possible to change the overview. You can choose another view to see your information here. It's also possible to change the view of the timeline, comfortable or condensed. You can zoom in, zoom out, and so on. Clicking on a card detail will show you the information here. So all information that is added in our first sheet, in our basic source, let's say, will be viewable here as well. And here it's also possible to add manually or change manually the card color if you would like this. In our situation, we would like to do it in an automated way. So we could decide to use the status column with some conditional formatting here. So what we will do here is select this column, click Format, choose Conditional Formatting, and we will add some automatic formatting here based on the text. If the text is exactly new, we want the background to be yellow. If the text, and we will add another rule here, is exactly busy, we will have the background to be orange. And then we will add the third rule for the third value. If the text is exactly done, we want the background to be grayed out. There you go. So changing those fields will automatically result in another formatting, in another color. And because we use this status column as the basic for the card color, it will be reflected automatically also in our time view. You can see this here in the settings. The optional field for the card color is based on the status column. So if the status column has a specific color, it will be reflected immediately in our timeline view. For instance, we will change this one, the topic 1. Let's change it to busy. Well, the timeline view will automatically reflect that change. So I hope you can have some inspiration from this video, start to explore this, and good luck with that.